friends, and welcome back to my channel. If this is indeed the first time that you're on my channel, I'm Vanessa and Somuayina, and welcome to the fam. So you guys, today's reading is all about what your future self would say to you right now. Have you ever thought back on a difficult situation in your life and just thought to yourself like, wow, I wish I would have known to like run from this person, that everything's gonna be okay, or that I should take this sort of action? So that is exactly what these readings are for. They're here to help you in the now by listening to divine messages from your future self. So in order to do so, I have prepared 4 groups that you can choose from, and I would like you to pick one of these 4 groups intuitively. So just go with whichever group that you feel the most drawn to. So the 4 groups are as follows. We have the Amazonite, we have the Howlite, we have the Amber, as well as the Pyrite. But as most of you know, the timestamps are down below in the description box, as well as pinned to the comment section. So you can just click the timestamp that corresponds to the crystal of your choice and fast forward to your reading. And yes, it is possible to feel drawn to multiple groups. If that is the case for you, then feel free to tune into multiple readings as long as it feels right, because your personal reading could be a mixture between multiple groups. Furthermore, to answer a few of your questions before I get into the readings, yes, these rings that I wear all the time in each and every one of my videos are made with real crystals. You can find the link down below. They are from buildabolife.com, and each and every one of them goes through quality checks and is shipped right here from Switzerland. The same goes for my personal readings. I create them right here for you. The link is down below. So I do still offer those, and I'm sorry if I haven't made it very clear. I just like to get straight into the readings. I don't really like to talk all that much during the intro of my videos, which is why we're stopping the blabbering right here. I would rather spend more time within all of your individual readings. So I'm going to be starting off with the first group, which corresponds to the Amazonite, and to all of the other groups, I will catch you at the click of your timestamp. Hello, group number 1, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Amazonite group number 1, which is for anybody who is kind of going through a phase in their life where they feel like they have a hot temper, they're a little hot-headed, but you may also be of a fire sign and in need of a little bit more balance within your life. But I want to move straight into your reading to figure out exactly what your future self would say to you right now. So we have stillness, we have new beginnings, as well as success. So your future self is trying to say to you right now that the area in your life where you feel like there is a lot of stillness, like there isn't as much movement, there isn't as much moving forward as you would like there to be, I see that your future self would say to you that this is just an indication of a new beginning that is very fruitful. There is a reason why we have success within your reading, and sometimes it can be very nerve-wracking when your business, your side hustle, maybe your studies, just something is going slow or seems to be almost a little droopy, almost like you're not moving along at the pace that you would like to move along. And it can really be stressful because you think to yourself, oh my God, like if this continues this way, I will not reach my goals, I will stay in this position forever, and I won't be able to get to a point in my life where I feel proud and satisfied. But your future self is telling you not to stress about that, not to worry. You know, stillness is sometimes needed in preparation of something great, of something bigger to happen, because sometimes things just need a little bit of time to process into the next stage, into the next phase of your life, and your future self wants you to kind of chill out and not worry about that too much. Put your attention elsewhere and know that whatever is going to be starting out with this new beginning, it is going to be a great start to a fresh chapter. But let's move further into reading. We have a Masquerade as well as Parasite. So your future self is trying to communicate a very strong message to you. In the Masquerade, in correlation to Parasite, your future self wants you to look at some of the people that are surrounding you. These could be people that are really close to you. It could be family, it could be close friends, but it could also be people at your work. And one thing that I see here is that somebody is kind of dressing up, okay, in the Masquerade. That is what we have, that somebody is putting up a facade of being kind of more into you and your success and your well-being than they truly and sincerely are. And that is one thing that I see in the Parasite. This person kind of wants to leech off of you, just like a parasite, just like, you know, somebody who does not have to work for what you're working for. They don't put in the work, nor do they give you that much emotional support. But in the end, when you're reaping the rewards and you're seeing the benefits, they kind of feel entitled to some of it. Do you get what I mean? So your future self wants you to really look out for people like that who are potentially in your life or trying to enter your life, because they can see, you know, that you have potential for success. They can see that some of these next steps in your life may lead to something that they desire or they would want to be a part of. So look out for that group number one. It's very important for you to not feel as though you have to basically give anybody a piece of what you worked so hard for unless they put in the work as well, or you just genuinely want to share it. And then we have the sea turtle, we have the rhinoceros, we have the beaver. Okay, so we have a very interesting combo here. One thing that I see here in the rhino is the fact that your future self wants to kind of urge you to do everything in moderation. Your future self feels as though maybe right now you're freaking out a little too much about a situation, or there's something that you're too invested in and you're neglecting another part of your life. So maybe you're, for instance, a bit too invested in working out, and then you're kind of like neglecting that you need off days. Maybe you're also very invested in your work and you're neglecting the fact that you need a little bit of time to mentally recuperate and to come to a nice little equilibrium every now and then. One thing that I see in the sea turtle is that your future self wants you to focus on creating more stability. If life has been kind of crazy, or you feel like, yes, you have been kind of hot-headed, think to yourself why that is and what you can do in order to change that. Because oftentimes when you feel really anxious, and you know, feeling anxious can result in, say, crying, it can result in hyperventilating, it can result in anger, and then you just kind of see the symptom but not really what's causing it. So the symptom may be you being very angry, anxious, sweaty, however it is that you get, but then what is actually causing it is not what you're dealing with. What you're dealing with is thinking to yourself, oh, why am I always so anxious? Why am I always sweaty? Why am I always crying? Or why do I cry so easily? Instead of really going to the root of the cause, not just like looking at the symptom that just occurs whenever you feel this way. So one thing that I see here in the beaver is that your future self wants you to put work into making sure that you clear out those parts that are still affecting you negatively, that still kind of like make you feel anxious now, okay? So it's important for you to look past the symptoms, at least for a little bit. I know they're not comfortable, they're not nice to deal with, but to really look at where these feelings are coming from, what the root of the issue is, and what you can do in order to get yourself out of any sort of negative headspace that may be plaguing you. But let's move a little further into your reading. We have the full moon in Sagittarius, the full moon in Scorpio, the full moon in Capricorn, as well as the new moon in Scorpio. So we have a ton of full moons for you here, which really makes me feel like we're getting to a point of kind of like this climax where the new beginning can start. So first and foremost, I want to start with the full moon in Capricorn. One thing that I see here is that the end of a tough cycle is coming towards you. Finally, group number one. So if you've been going through a very tough cycle, know that it is ending, which will come with this new beginning that we spoke about. In the full moon in Sagittarius, I see that you have to kind of look at the bigger picture, and that will soften the look of this tough cycle, okay? That will kind of make you feel like this tough cycle may have actually not been too tough, okay? It may have actually been something that you could have maybe overcome more easily or more healthily if you were to just keep your emotions in check, you know, get them kind of in control and not allow your emotions to take over. In the full moon in Scorpio, one thing that I see is that your future self is trying to tell you that it's time to release negativity, especially if that negativity has to do with somebody who is that parasite, okay, who is clinging on, who is always there to reap the rewards, to benefit from it, but is kind of lazy, is kind of not willing to put themselves out there for you or to show you that they're also going to put in a little bit of work and effort to get you and maybe even themselves to a more favorable point, okay? So that is something that your future self self wants you to release. And in the new moon in Scorpio, I see here that you can work through those fears, okay? This is no coincidence that the new moon in Scorpio showed up for you. It is so essential for you to know that working through your fears is something that you can do by yourself as well. You don't need support necessarily from other people or a therapist. Of course, each and every one of us has to decide this individually. You need to know for yourself how much support you need, but your future self is trying to communicate to you that you can really accomplish it by yourself if you set your mind to it, and if you're brave enough to kind of step outside of your comfort zone and tell yourself, yes, I can do this, okay? I can let go of this negativity. I can work through my fears. I can work through the things that are kind of keeping me from reaching my fullest potential. And cutting ties with somebody who is just bringing negative energy into your life or just leeching off of you will truly have you feeling more free. And if you're not 100% sure who this person is, then give it a little bit of time, okay? They might be just about to enter your life, and your future self is trying to warn you. So I just want to put that out there for you, group number one, because I want to let you know exactly what is going on. I don't just want to tell you what you want to hear. I need to point out things to you that I would tell my best friend, because you guys truly are my best friends. So I need to let you know where I see shady things happening and where I think you should look out, just in order to make sure that you have the most positive outcome in your life. So group number one, this is the reading that I received for you. I truly hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you found it insightful. Let me know down below in the comment section what really hit home, what you're going to be looking out for, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello, group number two, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Howlite group number two, which is a stone that helps you with more mental clarity, as well as just kind of relaxing and calming yourself. But let's move straight into your reading to figure out exactly what your future self would say to you right now. So we have blessings, taking risks, as well as relaxation. So I want to start off with relaxation because that corresponds so beautifully with the Howlite and just shows how important it is for you to take a little bit of a time off, okay? In group number two, I'm going to share some information with you right now that is classified. I just spent yesterday literally 16 hours or so sleeping because I was so tired, and that is something that you sometimes just need to do for yourself if you can. Of course, if you have children, if you have responsibilities that make that difficult for you, you may want to schedule this relaxation time around those responsibilities. So for instance, I take my dogs out in the morning, I come back in and I nap. So that is just an example. You may want to do the same, but fact of the matter is that your future self sees that you're very close to kind of exhaustion that is unhealthy. So nap, okay? Take some time off, take some time out from the world, as in not being on your devices, on your electronic devices, not watching the news, anything scary that's going on right now, because you just do not need that, okay? That is just bringing energy into your life that makes you feel very scattered and makes you feel uneasy. And taking risks, one thing that I see here is the fact that your future self wants you to take that risk. If you have, for instance, always wanted to start an Etsy shop, always wanted to start a YouTube channel, take that risk now, because I can see here that it will come with blessings. And the blessings could be that, it takes off immediately, that you have that initial success that you were looking for. But the blessing could also be that you learn so much out of the situation that it helps you in a future venture. I have tried lots of things in the past that didn't work out exactly the way I wanted them to work out, but at the end of the day, I'm beyond grateful for those experiences because they helped me truly figure out how to make things work in the now, and they helped me establish a successful business in the now. So all of those experiences, know that they are blessings, even if at the time taking risks can seem very scary or seem like something that you maybe shouldn't have done if you don't get the success that you desired immediately and instantly. Know that instant gratification is something that doesn't always work out and is something that you don't always see, okay? Sometimes you want instant gratification in the sense of something taking off, but the actual gratification that you're getting, that you're not seeing, is the learning curve, the learning process. Then we have a blinded to pain. So one thing that I see here, group number 2, is that maybe you've kind of been a little bit numb recently to some pain in your life, and this is a very deep kind of subject. This is something that you may not like to talk about, but I see that you're kind of putting things under the rug, like sweeping things under the rug that actually need to be addressed, okay? I see here that your future self wants you to actually bring those things out from under the rug, look at them, dissect them, maybe even talk to somebody about them, be it your family, be it somebody that you trust or see as a therapeutic kind of person, going to see a real therapist, you know, somebody who is legit, and just allowing yourself to uncover what is actually happening with you internally and why you have been so numb and blinded to the pain. Because sometimes we can be numb to something and then it kind of builds up and festers, and all of a sudden we are hit with it out of nowhere. And being hit with it can result in depression. It can result in very severe kind of mental damages or mental issues that you find difficult to then do everyday life with, you know, because if you, for instance, have depression, body dysmorphia, agoraphobia, it can be hard for you to do everyday life tasks, and it's difficult for other people to understand, and it may even be difficult for you to understand right now if you've never been in that situation. So try and keep yourself from going down that kind of like deep, dark road by just giving yourself, like I said, time for relaxation and to process things that you have been feeling numb about or that you have been just swiping under the rug continuously. Then we have a masquerade. So take off who you are trying to be, group number 2. Your future self sees that the person who you're trying to be is maybe not as authentic to you right now as it should be, okay? So you have more potential than you expected. I see that the person that you think you are going to be is maybe not even resonating with you whatsoever. I see that you're kind of putting on a mask to a certain extent in your everyday life, and sometimes you just have to do that, you know? For instance, at work, if you want to be professional, depending on what kind of job it is that you do, you just have to put on a mask. You have to protect yourself, because if you show people who you truly are, then you may risk your job. You may risk coming off as unprofessional. So I get that, but it is important, if you feel that that is what you need to do, or you know that that is what you need to do in order to succeed in the business that you're involved in, and then make sure that you make enough time to just like take that mask off when you get home, when you're with your friends, your family, and to be able to let your hair down in those situations. Then we have the jackal. We have the peregrine falcon as well as the dolphin. So let's move further into your reading, shall we? In the peregrine falcon, one thing that I see here is that your future self wants you to do more observing, okay? One thing that I see here is that your future self feels in the jackal as though there is a lot of truth that you're not seeing because you're not being observant, okay? You're jumping to conclusions as soon as you see something really small or you hear something really small, and you're not hearing out the full story. So this does not necessarily have to mean when somebody else is telling you something. This could be in correlation to seeing a little instance of a situation and jumping to a conclusion. For instance, seeing this little instance of a situation where somebody is complaining about another person or a situation, and you instantly jump to the conclusion that that person maybe is negative or likes to complain. Meanwhile, you don't know the backstory. So obviously that is just an example, but your future self wants you to take enough time to observe and to always give a fair chance to anybody that is involved in a situation, especially if you don't know them and you're only hearing about them from a third party, because you never know what that third party's intention is or was, and you never know what kind of picture they wanted to paint of that person. In the dolphin, I see here that your future self wants you to focus on happiness. Your future self feels as though you're not focusing on your happiness as much as you could or should. Your future self is trying to tell you that you're going through a phase in your life right now where you will regret if you did not live out that happiness, that youth, that wisdom, the people that you have around you. You know, it really depends obviously on your situation. If you're not the youngest anymore, then you kind of feel like what you really have to enjoy is maybe the wisdom. If you're somebody who is young, if you're somebody who is still adventurous, trying to like figure out life, then not doing so and confining yourself to a little space just because you're worried about things going wrong or what others may think of you, you will regret that. And that is why your future self is trying to push you to get out of your little cocoon, get out of your little nest, and explore and be who you are. Dress however you want to dress, do whatever you want to do, and don't feel judged when you go out into the world. Then we have the new moon as well as the mutable moon. Okay, so group number 2, one thing that I see here in the mutable moon is that your future self wants you to know that nothing is set in stone. So you may feel kind of worried about a situation where you're scared that, okay, this is like the end all, say all, be all. So this could be, for instance, with a family member that is sick or unwell. It could also have to do with you feeling like, oh my God, like if I take this route with my studies, if I do X, Y, and Z, then it is set in stone that this is the only job I'll be able to do, or this is the only kind of area I'll be able to explore or live in. But know that nothing is really set in stone as long as you allow yourself to still move things, okay? In the new moon, I see that you have a new start coming for you. Your future self wants you to know that with this fresh beginning, with this new moon, you can also change the kind of stepping stone and blocks that make up your life. Just think of it as like Tetris, okay? You can like move them and coordinate them in the way how you want to, and it's different for each and every person. You know, you may see an opportunity to coordinate these blocks that make up your life that somebody else might not see, but for you, that is the perfect opportunity, that is the perfect way to coordinate, and that will leave you with the most like points, with the most satisfaction and success that is possible for you in this situation in your life. So know that just because somebody is doing something one way doesn't mean that, you know, your way is set in stone. Just because somebody, for instance, studied law and became a lawyer at a firm doesn't mean that you have to go down the same route. It doesn't mean that it's set in stone for you. You might start your own firm. You may venture into something completely different, or you may go out and just be kind of like freelancing in a different way that has never been done before. So group number 2, this is the reading that I received for you. I truly hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you found it insightful. Let me know down below in the comment section what really hit home for you, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello group number 3, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the amber group number 3, which is in actuality not a stone, okay? It is really light. I wish you could feel it right now, but it is actually a piece of fossilized tree resin. So it is truly special. It has a lot of the energy of the earth, which may be what you're channeling or what you're needing right now. But I want to move straight into your reading to figure out exactly what your future self would say to you in this instance. So we have fulfillment, pleasure, as well as diligence. So it's very clear here that your future self is trying to communicate to you that in order to get to a space of more fulfillment and pleasure, you have to be diligent. So your future self feels as though you've been thinking of giving up or thinking of stepping down from something that you have wanted or something that you have been trying to pursue. But your future self wants you to be diligent and wants you to be strong and continue to pursue what it is that you desire. Your future self wants you to know that fulfillment and pleasure are ahead, okay? They lie ahead, and they're not that far out of reach that it is worth giving up at this point in time. Then we have freedom as well as happiness. So group number 3, you have a very favorable reading in spite of the fact that your future self feels as though you're giving up prematurely. I see here that freedom and happiness lie ahead, okay? And you may not expect this. You may think to yourself that things are kind of going okay, but not that amazingly, but your future self feels otherwise. Your future self can see that there are things that lie ahead of the present moment for you that will bring you such an added sense of value to life that you may have never expected. So it's important for you to continue to work hard. It's important for you to continue to stay on your grind and to not feel discouraged so easily. So if you feel like being on social media or seeing certain things in the news really discourages you or makes you feel like you can't achieve the same or do the same, then stay away from those forms of outlets of opinions of media in general, because it's not healthy for you. And then we have the triumph of lies. So your future self wants you to look out for things that seem too good to be true. Your future self wants to protect your freedom, your happiness, the fulfillment that is coming towards you, the fact that your labor is going to carry fruits. And why your future self wants to protect you of that is because it can see that there are people and situations that are portraying themselves to be better than they are. So these could be business opportunities. Do you know those business opportunities where people tell you you can make a ton of money, but it's not true? They're actually just scamming you. There are a plethora of those types of things out there. If you know exactly what I'm talking about, leave a little apple emoji down below in order to let me know. I don't need to get into detail about that, but your future self is trying to protect you of that. Also, certain deals, like, they're on the internet right now. So yes, I'm gonna say it. Okay, I was just thinking to myself, do I really want to say that? Yeah. So if you, for instance, just pay for shipping but get a pair of leggings like for free, that is too good of a deal, group number 3. That is obviously just an example. People do this with all types of things, but know that things that seem too good to be true are too good to be true, because there is nothing in this world that is for free. You know, you have to work for everything, you have to put out value. And then we have I won't cry for you. So group number 3, your future self sees that you're kind of like a little bit saddened by somebody's actions, or you're potentially going to be very saddened by how somebody chooses to treat you in a situation that affects you emotionally. So your future self wants you to steer clear of feeling sad, feeling down, or feeling lesser than because of somebody else. Because the only person that you are hurting is you, and the only person who will really be affected by that is most likely you. Because if somebody were to genuinely care about you, if somebody genuinely wants the best for you, they will not put you in a situation where you feel like they're putting you down. They will not put you in a situation where you feel like they are using you or they are not serious about you. You know, if you feel like very sad about somebody's level of commitment to you and somebody showing you how much they care and that level is very low or non-existent, then don't be sad about it. You know, if this is somebody where you can change that, if this is somebody close to you, then speak to them about it. But if this is somebody where you kind of have already tried to talk to them, or you've already tried to show them that it's not okay and that it saddens you how they're treating you, but nothing is happening, there's no sort of concern, they're not even trying any type of way to change things, then don't sadden yourself just because of someone else. You know, it's just like when you have your first love, your first crush, and it doesn't work out, or the person plays you or ghosts you, your future self would tell you, like, don't cry over it, don't sweat it, there's so many other fish in the sea for you, there is no reason to be sad about this one incident. Then we have the deer as well as the wolf. Okay, so group number 3 in the wolf, one thing that I see here is that your future self wants you to engage more with the side of you that is full of authenticity. And in correlation to the deer, I see that that is the side of you that is the most powerful. If you really want to tap into happiness, pleasure, success, you need to be the most authentic version of yourself. And that is something that I have experienced from kind of like my own situations that I've been in. I have tried to be a certain person, or thought that I was a certain person. I genuinely believed that I was this person that I was not, and I tried to fit into that mold, and it just wasn't happening. Do you know those kids' toys where you have to like fit a form into a mold where it can like fit in exactly like a star or a triangle or something like that, and the mold fits a star, but you're actually like a triangle, you're actually a square, and you're trying to jam it in there and it's just not working? That is exactly what I mean, group number 3. Don't try and jam yourself into a situation that is not authentically you. Your future self sees that you're trying to do that, and Your future self sees that you're trying to do that and it is just not working for you. It's just not what you are meant to do. It's not something that is doing any good in your life, and your future self wants you to quit it and just be authentically you, because that is where the most power lies within your life and your journey. Then we have the North Node, as well as the new moon in Sagittarius. So you may relate to the new moon in Sagittarius if Sagittarius is a sign that is prominent within your birth chart. Furthermore, one thing that I see here is that your future self wants you to know that luck is on your side. You should not worry. You should not feel concerned. I see here that something that is more important for you to actually think about is how you can step outside of your comfort zone and outside of the area of your expertise more in order to broaden that. So if my area of expertise, for instance, is a tarot, I want to step outside of the things that I already know. I want to widen my horizon, broaden my knowledge, and sometimes what you need to do is invest. Invest, for instance, with me, it would be in new decks, it would be in self-development, it would be in engaging with content that inspires me and gives me more knowledge in this field, okay? And also maybe stepping outside into a completely different field in order to broaden my knowledge, my horizon. But your future self just wants you to know that luck is on your side. If you have been going through an unlucky streak and worried that luck will never come back, know that it's on your side, okay? Luck is being channeled into your life. If you have been going through a lucky phase and you think to yourself, oh my God, this needs to end at some point, this cannot continue, know that yes, it can continue, but don't put on the brakes. When you think to yourself, oh my God, like I've been so lucky, things have been so good for me, I'm sure it's gonna stop. I mean, everything that goes up eventually like goes down again, so to say, but know that it doesn't have to be right now. Know that you can enjoy the ride up as long as possible, and the rides down don't need to be longer or the same length as your ups, your highs. You can have a life filled with more highs than lows. It's possible. You just need to allow yourself to believe it and to feel it and to experience it and live it in the moment. Just kind of enjoy it in the moment, group number 3. So group number 3, this is the reading that I received for you. These are the messages that your future self really wants you to think about and make a part of your life. I hope that you enjoyed this reading. Let me know down below what really hit home for you, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello, group number 4, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Pyrite group number 4, which is also known as the Fool's Gold, and it is just such a gorgeous, beautiful, sparkly gem. It is a gem that attracts more prosperity as well as abundance into your life, which is maybe exactly what you want. But let's move into your reading to figure out exactly what your future self would say to you right now. So we have delight, patience, as well as trust. One thing that I see here is that your future self is trying to communicate to you that you have to have a little bit of patience in order to attract more delightful situations into your life. Your future self feels as though you have a lot of phallic energy in your life right now. That is one thing that I see here, and that energy has you kind of taking action prematurely when situations aren't quite ready yet, when things aren't quite at the point where you're ready to consume, you know, like it's just like cooking a dish. If you take it out of the oven, off the stove prematurely, it won't be safe for consumption. And even if it's safe for consumption, it won't be as good as if you would have let it like fully cook, and then you can properly enjoy it. So the same goes with your life, group number 4. So I know this is a really weird comparison, but I feel like this will really make you understand how certain situations in your life need to be cooked a little longer before you can enjoy them, and that is what your future self is trying to communicate to you. So if you know exactly what I mean, group number 4, leave a little food, actually a French fry emoji down below, because who does not like French fries? But let's move in further into your reading. One thing that I see here is that your future self wants you to know that you can trust you, okay? So you may have been through a situation that made you feel like, oh my God, I just can't trust myself. So this could be in love. This could be you spending a little bit too much money on unnecessary things, group number 4. I mean, not trying to call you out, but you know, those are certain situations where you may think to yourself that I just don't trust me. I just don't think that I make good decisions. But your future self wants you to steer clear of thinking that way and wants you to know that you can trust yourself. Sometimes you just need to be a little more patient for situations to further develop, or for you to just mentally get to the point where you're thinking in a more mature way and you're thinking with more longevity. Then we have simplicity as well as power. So group number 4, your future self feels as though the power in your life right now really lies in these simple things. It really lies in looking away from all things that are earthly, from all things material. So if you've been a little bit addicted to something in the material realms, it could be a certain brand, it could be kind of doing things in a certain way where you have to spend a lot of money, or portraying a certain image, say on your social media. I want you to know that right now, where you can really benefit the most mentally and for life in general, is to move away from that. And of course, life is a balance between the spiritual and the material realms. I'm somebody who knows that too well. Like, I really like nice things, and that is something that I stand by. And I don't feel as though you cannot like nice things in order to be like I don't feel like one has to exclude the other, if you know what I mean. You can be a spiritual being and still enjoy travel. You can be a spiritual being and still enjoy nice handmade things by people who are truly talented. One does not have to exclude the other, but sometimes you have to focus more on one thing, okay? Sometimes you have to focus a little more on the simplicity in your life, a little more on just spirituality, in order to get you to a point where you have that balance that is healthy. Because when you get too caught up in material things, things in the earthly realms, the latest stuff that is being sold to you, you can really forget about your core values and the things that are the most important to you in your life. Then we have fated to suffer as well as downcast pride. So one thing that I see here in fated to suffer is the fact that family wounds are something that your future self sees you can actually do something about now. So you may have felt as though there are certain situations with your family or maybe your friends that cannot be healed or never will be healed, that things will always be the same. But your future self feels as though one thing you can do here is to be the bigger person. I know you may think to yourself, if I need to be the bigger person one more time, it's not going to be pretty. And I know, group number 4, it's really hard and it's something that you may not want to do, but just try it one more time and see what the outcome is. Try it one more time in a way that is sincere, in a way that is non-threatening, because there is a lot of kind of like manipulation involved in this situation, okay? There's a lot involved here where people are trying to be a bit like calculating, and where people are trying to figure out how they can kind of keep the cycle going. But you want to break the cycle. You want nothing but positivity within your life, and you wish the best upon the people that you care about, and you want them to do the same for you. So I want you to just be the bigger person one more time. I know this may not be what you wanted to hear, but I have to be truthful with you and the messages that your future self has for you. So your future self says that that is something you will not regret, and it will give you certain answers that you have always needed. For instance, answers that are showing you that being the bigger person, it may not change them, it may well change them, but you will feel more at peace. Do you know how when sometimes there's a situation going on with another human being and you don't want to be the bigger person one more time or ever again, but you know that for you to feel at peace, for you to feel like you have tried everything possible in order to mend things, you just have to like give it that one last go, that one last push. And that is exactly what your future self is trying to encourage you to do. Then we have the seahorse as well as the tarantula. So one thing that I see here in the seahorse for you, group number 4, is that equality is kind of something that you need to look into a little more. So it depends on where you're at in your life right now, group number 4, but equality may be something that you're struggling with. or that is not on your radar as much as it should be. Look around and make these connections and fight against inequality. Your future self feels as though you're the kind of person who can make an impact on that topic, but sometimes you don't quite see the connection. Sometimes you don't quite see how somebody who is working in this department, for instance, is not getting the recognition as somebody else who looks a certain way, speaks a certain way, has been to a certain area, okay, of people, a certain area code of people, has been friends with a certain area code of people, but they get treated a lot better. And you can end that, okay? Even if it doesn't affect you, you can point it out, you can call it out, you can work against it, even if you don't say it, okay? Even if you don't kind of like scream it off the rooftops, because at the same time you have to protect yourself. If this is happening in a work environment, you can still make a stand in a lot of different ways. And this is something that is very important, even if it's not affecting you in any like particular moment. Equality is something that we all need to stand up for, and that we all need to fight for, and that we need to know that it shouldn't only be an issue once it affects us. It is always an issue, whether it affects you, the person next to you, or your neighbor. You know, it's important for you to stand up against inequality and to make that connection that if it can happen to them, the tables can turn and it could happen to you anytime as well. Group number 4. Then we have the full moon in Gemini, as well as the full moon in Pisces. So these may be signs that you kind of relate to. In the full moon in Pisces, one thing that I see here is that your future self wants to do what we were talking about earlier in balancing spirituality and the material realms, okay? Your future self, okay, my lighting is all weird. I didn't even notice that. It's because of the sun. I hope that it's not too distracting, group number 4, but let's continue with your reading. So your future self wants you to know that you can balance spirituality as well as just the material realms in a very practical way. You don't need to go above and beyond or do anything crazy. I can see here in the full moon in Gemini that the answers that you seek, the things that you need to know in order to figure out exactly how you can balance all of this out, they're coming to you. You will know what to do next. You just need to give it a little bit of patience, okay? Give it a little bit of time and trust in yourself and your intuition. That is one of the biggest challenges. That's something that I see within your reading. That is what your future self wants to communicate to you, but you're able to overcome that, and you're able to channel your energy into things that make you feel passionate, such as creating more equality and just kind of creating an environment that isn't so hostile, kind of burying any old hatches, any old family dramas that may be swirling around, just so you can be more at peace and more at ease. So group number 4, this is a reading that I received for you. I truly hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you found it insightful. Let me know down in the comment section what really hit home for you, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos.